What's going on, guys? My name is Daniel. Welcome to my channel. And what I want to talk about today is the adversary of your mind, the enemy in your mind that the Bible talks about, that 99.9% of the Christian church is in a crazy war, got their panties up in a bunch, and are fighting day and night for their sanity, for their freedom. And what this is the devil, the Satan. But what does Satan really mean? I actually just gave you the answer in the words before. Satan is the adversary. Satan is the great enemy. Satan is the accuser of the brethren. But we need to let this Satan go. Why do we have to let him go? One, because Jesus said, do not resist your enemy. If somebody hits you in the face, turn the other cheek. If somebody takes your coat, give them your other coat. Give them your jacket. Why would Jesus say such a thing? Because what we resist persists. So the fact that you are resisting this Satan, who you think is a literal spirit being in your life, is actually creating more resistance, problems, accusations, slander, troubles, and tribulations in your life. Let me tell you, the day that I stopped believing in Satan as a literal spirit being, my life was transformed forever. Do you know why? And I would like to state right now that since I let go of Satan as being a literal being and his demon cohorts as being literal beings, and I stopped believing in them, I stopped getting attacked. I went from being in vicious circles of spiritual warfare over and over, and then me and my wife were like, you know what? We're just going to let this go. We heard a fantastic teaching by Brian Christian about Satan and who Satan really was. Go check it out. He's an ex-Satanist, was caught up in that world, caught up in that life. And we have actually misconstrued who this Satan being is completely. So me and my wife decided, okay, you know what? We're not going to believe in the Satan character anymore, and we're going to see what kind of fruit comes out of our life. Guess what happened? Our focus stopped being on things below, and we naturally rose above. The Bible's clear about this, that Satan is under our feet. He is the footstool. He has been conquered. All powers and principalities were nailed to the cross, being defeated, is how the Bible puts it. So this evil, powerful spirit being is actually an illusion with no power. The Satan, an enemy you have, is in your mind. And the real battle is not conforming to this world, conforming to the doctrines of Satan being a literal being, conforming to what you've been trained to believe, and being renewed in your mind. So when you let go of Satan being a literal adversary, a literal devil, a literal fallen angel, a literal being who is trying to destroy your life, paradoxically, you come into a level of freedom because there's nobody attacking you anymore. From a quantum perspective, everything we put out into the quantum field, we get back. Every thought, every feeling. So if you're constantly feeling and focusing on things going wrong in your life, temptations, whatever's happening, circumstances, as attacks from the devil, guess what's going to keep coming to you? More attacks from the devil. And it's not his fault. It's not even a real he. Go watch my video about who is Satan. It will outline a deeper understanding for you about what the Satan reality actually is and how it works, and even how Job's life and the Satan there that came and attacked Job and took everything from him. The reality is the enemy and the battlefield in your mind, the more you resist these enemies, these accusers, these adversaries, the more you're going to have to deal with them. So what I implore you to do if you're in a battle with Satan right now is to decide he's not a real spirit being, let him go, and see if the fruit You're probably worried about being deceived with this comment, but see if the fruit lines up. I promise you, it will be the best deception you've ever tasted. And it's not even a deception. It's actually coming above into a greater level of reality. And if you want some scriptures about this, when Jesus was talking with Peter and Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Peter said, some are saying you're Elijah, some saying, you're John the Baptist, some say this, some say that, Lord. And Peter pipes up and he says, "You're the Christ." And he's like, "Wow, blessed are you, Peter. You just revealed that. Flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you." Hear that. Flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you. Meaning the carnal mind didn't reveal that to you. That came from the Spirit. That came from my Father in heaven. Then the next statement, Jesus is like, "I got to go to the cross and die." And Peter goes, "I will never let that happen. I will never let that happen." And guess what Jesus said? To the one who just said, "You are amazing, you're smart, you tapped into God." Guess what he said to him? He said, "Get behind me, Satan." So Jesus goes from calling Peter, hearing from the Father, connected with God, to Satan. See, I always used to think that Satan or a demon or a spirit being jumped into Peter there and spoke through him. Like a physical entity, a spiritual entity jumping into him to take over him. Is that what really happened though? No. What Jesus was saying, the key is before. Flesh and blood did not reveal this to you. The carnal mind did not reveal this to you. Peter was rebuking the Satan, the flesh and blood, the fleshly thoughts of Peter, and calling it Satan, because that's the origin of the accuser and the adversary towards the divine expression of life. Jesus in this story is the divine expression of life. And he's describing the salvation of the world and going toward the cross, which is an amazing, beautiful story and parable about how we come into our divinity. Humanity nailed to divinity. See, the cross, all throughout the Bible, humanity is called trees. We are the Psalm 1 tree planted by the river. We are the Revelation 2:2 tree in heaven that bears fruit in season, all 12 seasons. Okay? In the book of Haggai, it says, "Go into the hill country and bring back wood to build my temple." Well, we are the temple, and the wood is people. And so when Jesus was nailed to a tree, it is divinity being nailed to humanity. The cross is the revelation of God in you, Christ in you, never to be separated. And that's what the Hebrews would have seen when Jesus was up there. They would have known you're not getting down from there. And the Son of God being nailed to, the Son of Man being nailed, God being nailed to man. And so Jesus rebukes Peter and he says, "Get behind me, Satan." This is very telling and important because if you look at in Hebrew, there's many different words for different words. So like one word, for example, like salvation in the Bible is the word sozo. But sozo could be translated saved, healed, delivered, safe and sound, all these different things, whole. The word Satan or demon can be adversary, accuser, enemy, devil. Another word is mindset. A lower frequency mindset. A mindset that originates from the flesh, from the ego, from the carnal mind. That is opposing the will of God. See, that's what the Bible says. It says that the carnal mind is at war, at enmity with the Spirit. So Peter was going through one of those moments where inside of him, the carnal mind was at war with the plan of God in his life. So all the battles that you're going through with Satan and all the attacks and all the spiritual warfare that is happening in your life is nothing more than your lower mind fighting against your higher mind. Your carnal self fighting against your Christ self. The Bible says your flesh against your spirit. That's what's happening. So what you need to do is let go and stop resisting and fighting the imaginary illusion of the devil and allow these things to fall away. That's why Jesus said, love your enemies. Love, you have heard it said that eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, but I say love your enemies. Why? Because what you resist persists. What you fight, you're going to focus on and you're going to create more of that. It's quantum physics. So let go of Satan. It's a quantum principle. And when I say quantum, I mean it's a mechanism, the way that the nature of reality works. That the longer that you fight the devil, the longer that you fight the spirit of Jezebel, the longer that you fight Leviathan and you start binding and loosing and rebuking all these demons, you're actually giving energy to those spirits, to those entities, to those patterns in your life, and you're creating a greater stronghold in your life. I promise you. Give it a try. Let go of everything, because what this does is it allows you to stop being such a victim in your life. And then now it's no longer an external devil attacking you. What is it? Maybe it's the way that you think and feel based on the ways that you were raised and the traumas and the hurts in your life, so that you can take responsibility. And all responsibility is your ability to respond. See? So right now, you have traumas and hurts and soul wounds and different things that you're dealing with in your heart from everything that you've been through in this life. And you're responding, blaming it on Satan, something outside of yourself. So you are actually giving power outside of yourself to an illusion. But because you're a powerful, divine, limitless being, a co-creator with Christ of your reality, you're actually feeding, because our hearts are electromagnetic organs, frequencies. So you are releasing a low-level frequency of bondage and fear and fight and resistance into the quantum field. And these waves are producing more energy patterns in the form of Satan or demons that are coming back into your life to bind you up, to bring more resistance to you. Let go of Satan. Let go of Satan. The Satan is the principle that works in your carnal mind, that is attracting all of these low frequency and low level emotions to your life. When you let go of that, the principle no longer binds these things to your life, and you can start to focus on things above and not below. That's why Paul, all throughout his letters, numerous times says, focus on things above, focus on things that are good, focus on things that are lovely, focus on amazing things. Why? Because the more that you focus on the war and Satan, you are projecting into the quantum field that which you don't perceive, and it is faithful to continue to give you this life circumstances that perpetuate your suffering. So I hope this blesses you. I hope this brings some light and illumination to who Satan is, letting go of the Satan and the demon thoughts in your mind. I hear somebody asking in the spirit right now, then what are demons? And that's a very good question. What demons are energetic projections or different energy patterns that are actually created by the low-level emotions and frequencies. So think about it like this. On a TV station, there's different channels. You have channels, we'll say 2 to 10. 2 is the lowest frequency, the lowest channel. 10 is the highest frequency. All of these television waves are radiating through the air. We can't see them, but if you tune into channel 2, you're going to get the content on channel 2. If you tune into 3, you're going to get the content on 3, and so forth all the way up to channel 10. You're going to tune in, you're going to get that program. Well, the truth is, demons and Satan are very low-level programs. Their energies infiltrate to channels 2 and 3. But when we let go and stop focusing and watching those channels, we transcend our energy and vibration up into higher level frequencies where we leave behind those programs. Just like if you're watching on Channel 2 a horror movie and there's people being murdered and zombies and stuff, and you're full of fear and you're full of all this worry and whatever. It's a picture of your life. All you have to do is turn the channel. Stop focusing on that. Take responsibility and respond differently, realizing that you can change the channel. That you can let go of the programs and the belief that channel 2 and 3 are the channels that you need to fight in order to overcome. The way that you overcome is by observing those channels, realizing they're not the ones that you want, observing those mental programs and those feelings, and realizing those are not the ones that you want to live by anymore, that you want to respond differently, and you think on things above, and you change the channel up to 4, up to 5. You become present, you become aware, and you allow these programs to dissolve and die. There's something in the occult, and all the occult means, the word occult means hidden. So there's hidden teachings that secret societies and the engineers of society have known for a long time. And I want to reveal that to you right now. That will help you understand and explain what's happening energetically, creating these demons and these patterns and these false gods or evil entities that we so know and love in the Christian church. There is something called an egregore. What's an egregore? An egregore is when there is a group of people, 2 or more people, believing, thinking, and feeling the certain way about something. Because we're so powerful and creators of our reality, the frequencies from our heart and mind actually come together in the quantum realm, in the spirit, and those energies come together and create an autonomous, energetic entity that can think and live on its own. So these energies are actually because we're creators made in the image of God, and God's a creator. So we, therefore, by default, are creators, whether we know it or not. Wherever our attention goes, our energy flows. And when our energy flows together in unity with many people, say a church that is fighting the spirit of Jezebel, those energies are actually going into the spirit and forming a greater spirit of Jezebel to fight them more, so to reaffirm the identity and the channel that they're on. That's the truth. These things are reflected back to us by the quantum field. These energies and these egregores that are created are designed to come and resist everything in our life that we're not. They're designed to come and resist the carnal part of us. Remember when Peter said the wrong thing? They're designed to resist us so that we can let go of those programs, realize that we're on the wrong channel, and that we need to renew our mind into who we truly are. So we very rarely come into illumination and understanding of who we are without walking through the hell of all the resistance, all the demonic activity, all the fights that are being reflected back to us because we're projecting who we're not. So every false identity and belief system that you're having, you're going to have to walk through unless you learn to take responsibility and respond in a different way, where you gain new abilities to be able to focus and become the observer of your life. This is really important, because when you become the observer of your life, you let go of all of the perceptions, thoughts, and feelings about who you are, about the devil attacking you, about all these things, because you realize you can change the channel. You don't necessarily need to believe them anymore. You can step into a new reality, because on a quantum level, we're actually vibrating back and forth and moving in and out of multiple realities and multiple dimensions, hundreds and thousands of times a minute or a second. We're blinking in and out. And so all it takes for you is to realize the programs that you're running are not the right programs, to think and feel differently after you observe them. And every time they come up and try to come back up into your life, because your neurological hardware is still in that pattern, so you have to renew your mind into a new pattern, into a new way of thinking, into a new way of being. So you become aware of the patterns. You don't fight the patterns when they come up. You actually give love and acceptance to them. You love your enemies. And as that happens, then they stop coming in such strength, because every time channel 2 comes up, you're meeting it with a channel 10 energy, and it can't survive anymore. You're flipping the script. You're flipping the channel. You're changing your frequency. And when you change your frequency in your body, these lower level vibrations and egregore patterns that you've been so entangled with will be vibrated out of your body, and you'll be able to live in a limitless expression of freedom and not have to keep going around and around the mountain, confessing your sins, feeling in guilt and shame, living in a broken identity, and blaming it on the devil. This is where you take responsibility for your life, and you step into realizing that you are the creator, the co-creator of your life and reality. And this gets even bigger, because that's just the beginning. Because once you realize that you're doing that in your own life, then every individual person is doing that for society, for culture, for the entirety of the world. And most people are largely unconscious and don't realize that they're actually creating their reality and contributing energy to the way society is. So they buy in to the ways that the engineers and architects of society have set things up. And they just accept those systems, and all of their energy is going in supporting these low-level channel systems that keep us in bondage, slaving away, in debt, in despair, in insecurity, making us think that we need the next thing in order to feel okay. And most people don't realize that that is the reality of what's going on in society. And so that's why it's tremendously important that even those in the church that think they're saved wake up out of the illusion that the devil is attacking you, that you are in a war with literal spirit beings. Because all of that idea came down through the Catholic Church and other religious organizations that are part of the global cabals. Because they knew that if they could put the truth in there of who God is, and obviously God is, but limit him into crucifix worship, limit him into worshiping a historical figure instead of becoming the spirit that the historical figure advocated and said, it's better for you if I go. Jesus said this, it's better for you if I go, to his disciples. Wait a second, why is that? Because the Spirit will come. Then you will live from the Spirit within. So here's the reality. You are co-creating this planet. You are co-creating your life with God. You're co-creating this planet with every other being, every other facet of God on this earth, in and through every individual. When we start to wake up, when we start to have a spiritual awakening, we realize that the systems and the ways of the world that we've been trained in aren't what they thought. And that includes your doctrines in religion. We need to transcend these low vibrational channels. Take responsibility for who we are, what we think, and how we feel, and create the new earth that is in alignment with the realities of heaven. And that was Jesus' prayer. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. To have God's will come, we need to let go of our own will. We have to let go of our own beliefs. We have to let go of our own so that we can come into the higher mind, the elevated frequency. So I love you. I hope you got something from this. Satan is not a literal being. You've been tricked. You've been deceived. And on top of that, you've been worried about being deceived. So not only have you been deceived by a deception, but you've been told to believe outside of that deception is actually deception itself. So you are in a program loop that you've been put in by religion, that you've been put in by doctrines of demons from low vibrational secret societies that have been passed down from generation to generation because they know how egregores work. And they know if they can get you believing a certain way with a large group of people in a fight, putting resistance, low-level energy in there, then you're going to be creating and expressing the very prison that is keeping you bound. Shalom, friends. I hope this blessed you. I hope this has challenged your heart a little bit. I hope that you realize that you are a divine being and that you are a multidimensional expression that has the power to transform their reality. When you leave behind everything that was talked about in this video and the channels of 2 and 3 of that frequency, you never see it again. I never am attacked by the devil anymore. I live in bliss. I live in wholeness. I live in joy. I live in service to humanity. I live as a powerful co-creator, loving and helping people. And so many people are waking up to this reality. So I implore you to let go of your dead religion and move in to Christ.